first item on our discussion agenda is the telecommunications and commercial bandwidth rates. As Chris has, I think, has mentioned, we've looked at our commercial bandwidth and where we are with our competition, and come up with a plan, I think, that will make us beneficial to our customers, our commercial customers, as well as to us, and to keep us competitive, as well as a couple of, actually, I think, 4 or 5 new services we'd like to offer to our commercial customers, which we think will benefit them. We've had some interest in those services, and I'd like, Chris, if you want to give a brief overview,
Sure.
happy to do that.
And of course, happy to answer any questions, but we all know that the need for additional bandwidth, it's certainly been growing over time. We really haven't done any sort of large changes to our bandwidth and rate structure for about 5 years now. So times are changing, and we, based upon feedback from our customers, as well as recent interactions with potential customers, it's become apparent that from a fiber to fiber standpoint, we are out of the market as far as the bandwidth and the rates that we offer. We are much higher as far as the rates when you look at the corresponding bandwidth. Now, this, of course, does not compare to coaxial or DSL services. Those are always going to be much cheaper than what we offer on a fiber-to-fiber basis. But that's my comparison, is in this market, fiber-to-fiber. Any questions, Tony? Looks like you have one.
You're doubling the speed for the same price. What's that costing us?
Well, as you guys know, we've made some adjustments to our backbone. The commission authorized me to go ahead and start moving forward with expanding that. That is in the intention of being prepared for a significant increase in fiber-to-the-home customers. Commercial bandwidth itself, we have the capacity, and there's really no incremental cost to that. We have X number. We have a certain size pipe, and the more that we can pass down through that pipe, the more we actually benefit from that. Do you know what I mean? There's no incremental cost to it.
And that so-called pipe, how much of it are you using now? What percentage?
Well, I'm reluctant to say that kind of information publicly, but we're about maybe about 50% or so. That's prior to us making that larger upgrade that's coming hopefully in June. So there's going to be some significant changes here. Again, I want to focus on the perception of people. Marketing has a big impact on people. Nowadays, all you're hearing is 100 meg this, 100 meg that, gigabit this, gigabit that. So the perception is, I need to have more bandwidth. Whether they really need it or not, whether they're really going to use it or not is another story. But their perception is, I can get X from so-and-so. You're not offering X, you're offering half of what X is at this. Why would I want you? That sort of thing. It's not that I think that there's going to be any sort of concern that we'll overuse our resources.
Maybe a little naive, but AT&T and Spectrum offer 25, and we don't offer that. We go from 20, 30, 40, so forth. What's the difference in there, Chris? Just how they choose to market it. I thought that one of the best things that we could do was simply double our existing speeds. And this gets you the double existing speeds. It's simple for our customers to understand, so current customers, hey, I had 10, now I have 20. If somebody absolutely insists that they need a 25 megabit speed, we can come back and get that priced out for them. Is there much difference in 25 and 30 from a practical
Honestly,
standpoint?
not really, no.
Okay.
And the most popular speeds right now, honestly, are 5 megs with our customers.
Or 5?
A good portion of our customers have 5 megs, so we want to take them to 10 megs because we're getting a lot of concern from them that they're not getting enough from their relationship with us. So that's why I dropped off the lower tiers here too. If you notice, compare the two charts. There's a 1 meg and a 5 meg service. So at least for the near term, we want to take those services out of what we're offering and just go straight with the 10 meg.
And those commercial services that you listed down below, the commercial wireless networking, content filtering, and hosted firewall, do AT&T and Spectrum offer those?
Yes and no.
Virtual packs?
Yes and no. Different branches of them offer them. It's not a... Many times IT consultants are the ones that come in and assist them with those services outside of Spectrum. So Spectrum will provide them the bandwidth, and maybe they'll provide them with some wireless services, but when it gets to some of these more detailed things, they tend to not offer those or be not as supportive. So our customers have asked, and we actually have been doing some testing with this for a few of our bigger commercial customers, and we're 100% sure we can support it, and they definitely want it, and they're willing to pay for it, so we figured we should offer it.
Are those additional services actually
profit drivers, or are you just doing that to just keep customers?
A little mixture of both. A little mixture of both. As Tom pointed out, it helps us to offer these more, rather than just being a straight bandwidth provider, the more that we can support them on their internal networks, the more they like that relationship with us. And when they know that they really can't get that level of support from a larger company, it helps to keep them there. And they rethink, well, is it really worth it if I change over? If, you know, they're not going to offer me this virtual fax service, or they're not going to offer me this content filtering. You know, I really am happy with OMU. I want to stay with them. But it also does help us financially. Makes us a couple extra dollars.
I noticed too that when I look over our monthly bills, we pay AT&T a lot of money every month. And I was just wondering, do we use our own services? Are we a commercial, our own services, and to what extent?
Yeah, actually, we do quite a bit. We use our own internet, and we use our own phone services now too. Now, there are a number of lines that are still with AT&T for redundancy, and I don't know all of the details of that. The internal resources are managed by the IT department, but I do know we are our customer.
To what extent it's simply an interesting thing to look at, I guess.
Yeah, as a percentage, I don't know. Terry, you may know.
Percentage
As a
of lines,
percentage?
I mean, it's probably 5 or 6% that are AT&T lines. Now, I can't say that's in dollars, because when we're buying volume, we buy through Chris for the volume costs.
Thank you.
Thank you, Terry.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the discussion agenda is the retention and severance program recommendation. Just a couple of introductory comments. Obviously, I've been intimately involved with this in production for the last, as we are looking at this transition in how we provide electricity to our customers and the source of our electricity. And we've gone through and made the announcements as we've done the studies, and we see first that we're going to close Unit 1 down in 2019. And then with the pressures that we've got, the decision to shut Unit 2 down and subsequently the whole plant no later than the end of 2023. Now, that's had a measurable impact on our employees. Obviously, you know, they have a finite window of where they will be able to continue working in electric production. And as we get closer to that point, and these analyses start coming to fruition, which are going to happen in the next couple of months, these issues are driving behaviors of our employees. And so I think it's necessary that we try to provide some retention planning and program to help the financials and to help retain those that it makes sense for them. I've always told the employees, you've got to do what's best for you and your family. If that's leaving OMU, I hate it, but I understand it. But if this will help some of the employees stay with us, because bottom line is, until the day we shut down, we've got to operate that plant safely and reliably as best we can. And we need these employees to do that. And we've got plans in place for backfilling, and because we know we're not going to keep all of them. But I think it's important that we keep as many of our core employees as we can. We've got a lot invested, they've got a lot of invested in us. We've got a lot invested in them with training and a lot of experience. In the last 12 months, we lost 23 employees out of a head count that ranges between 70 and 80 in electric production. I've been here 28 years, that's unheard of. We've always had a little bit of turnover. We've had turnover in engineering positions, but you know, our core employee base, we've not had that level of turnover ever. And it's because of this, it's because of the future. And of those 23, 9 of those were resignations. And most of those are looking out for their future and moving on. So to the extent that this plan will help us retain some of those employees, I'm absolutely in favor of it. I think it's the right thing to do. I think we've come up with a good plan. I appreciate the committee from you guys, Ted and Tony, helping Michael. They've done a great job helping us flesh this out. And I think the time has come to implement it. You know, we are in that home stretch now. And like I said, in the last 12 months, 23 people leaving electric production. We can't sustain that. And so we need to, if this will help stem that tide, I think it's a good thing to do. And you guys have seen the memo. Michael can go over it, answer any questions you've got, or we can, however you want to do it, but certainly try to work. Okay, Tony, you want to say something?
Well, I will say this, you know, this has been a challenge dealing with this. It wasn't easy. There's three components to this. You know, you have what you just spoke of, the risk associated with not having that plant up and running as we need to, between our reliability and cost associated with that. And then we have the concern for the employees that are gonna be displaced by this. And then we got the concern about the ratepayers, the cost of this. So after deliberation for what we've been on this 6 to 8 months, a lot of give and take, I think we've kind of reached the middle ground and compromised of what I think works best all the way around. I appreciate the work staff has been put in this, and listen to Ted and I say no, 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 and coming up with other solutions. So it's still, I mean, I hope our ratepayers understand the importance of this, why it has to be done. We've talked about at all of our strategic planning meetings as well as our surveys, the importance to reliability. Well, if we can't keep that plant going, you know, we've had some serious concerns with reliability as well. So I think we've got that sweet spot on this, and I'm in favor of what we're just laid out.
And I would not recommend this if I didn't think this was ultimately the best thing for our ratepayers, because it protects them, it does help us with the reliability, and I think, you know, the alternatives would be more costly in the long run for our ratepayers.
What you've laid out certainly seems reasonable. I wondered about the hire date of June 1st, 2017. Was that picked because last year that's when we decided to?
We have been, for our newer employees, we have been very clear with them when they come in that this is a short-term employment opportunity, and that we don't have a final date in sight, but they come in with the understanding that their job is going to end, and it's not going to be a career for them in electric production. Our other employees, our long-term employees that have been here a long time, you know, they came in with the expectation they'd be able to retire from OMU. So it's a different level of, you know, these newer employees, in that last year, we've been very upfront with them when we hire them that this job is not going to last very long.
So since about a year ago, that's what you've been telling me. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I didn't realize we lost that many employees, and I guess that reflected one of the other issues on the agenda today is how much more we've had to pay the Messenger and Inquirer to advertise.
We are still replacing employees, and we've been fortunate we've been able to replace those, but they're inexperienced, and our experience is shifting. And we have a lot of newer employees now, and that's, we need to keep some of our more experienced folks at home so they can help us with this as we transition out of this plant.
Have you all run this by any of the employees so far? Does this seem acceptable? I mean, the word is out, I'm sure, that, you know.
I've talked to subsets and groups of employees, and that's why you get some of the outplacement discussion. That's why you get some of the medical and prescription coverage, the COVID coverage, and some of those, because that's their concern. If I stay with you to the bitter end, I get an end-loaded payout, then I don't have benefits for my family, or I don't have a job for my family next. So we try to listen in different, different groups and different discussions with employees, and most have been like one-on-one type of things. No focus groups or anything of that nature.
So it seems to be acceptable, the numbers that you laid out here. Okay.
We'll add, though, that there is a lot of details to iron out how this works. So I think Pat and HR are working on employment agreements and how this will have to be worded. So although we're willing to approve this program as it's structured, we still have to approve that employment agreement to see the details of that agreement. So I think the motion I think Pat has prepared a motion how we vote for this.
Like Pat to read that prepared motion. Is it on the screen or not?
No, I don't have that.
I can just do it.
Oh, we got it, it's up on, that's the new. Here it is. I'll do it. I move that the commission approve funding for the retention program and severance programs proposed by the management of the Elmer Smith Station employees, and that management work with legal counsel to draft the terms and conditions of the agreement that will be program and the terms and conditions of the severance program. That's my motion.
I'll second that motion.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Thank you all. Okay.
Appreciate everyone's hard work.
Thank y'all for all the work you did on that.
Ted and Tony did a great job. We really appreciate that. And Michael, and Dan. Next is our consent agenda. Chairman, we'll be happy to answer any questions on any items within.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Go to our reports, financial, third quarter. We're not doing a presentation, that's posted for your all's review. We'll be happy to answer any questions.
You still have a feeling for why retail's down on the revenue line?
The sales down.
Yeah.
Usage is down.
Yeah.
How's the usage on
Resident-
retail still down?
Yeah,
August was way low for the summer.
We had a not hot summer.
We got off to that start.
We got off to a bad start and we just haven't caught back up.
Year-to-date, retail sales are down 3.1%.
And that's kind of steadied off now.
Notice that we purchased about 2 times as much power that we budgeted for. Is that because of some outages and things like that?
That's outages at the Elmer Smith Station.
Yes.
Good news, our expenses are down more than our revenues are down. We're on pace of
Still in the black.
Anything else on third quarter? Telecom, Chris has a brief presentation here, give you an update.
Okay. One thing I'd ask for the commission, or something we intend to do, we just talked about third quarter financials, but yet you see the first quarter telecom update. One of the things I'd like to do is get these presentations in sync with the financial year. If that's okay with you, the next one I'll do will be the first quarter financials for, with it synced up with the next financial year. If that's okay with you, I'd like to try to get that more.
Especially when your memory's really good.
Yeah, well, I just think for clarity, it's probably better if all of that is synced up. Some of the graphics on here, just wanted to quickly show you that we're kind of refreshing the brand when it comes to our fiber to the home services. So here are some images that we're using on some mailers and door hangers and things like that. You'll see that throughout the presentation. Just kind of taking a little bit of a different twist on things. I want to thank Sonia for working on that with a couple of our vendors. So here's our numbers. Kind of notice this was pretty good here, lots of blue. And then it's kind of down here a little bit not so great. That's one of the reasons why I made that recommendation to the commission, is because at the start of the calendar year I've noticed a trend, and I want to try to get out ahead of that trend and be in line with the market. Again, not to get too much into the details of the disconnects, but I did see some of that, so some disconnect activity that I have not seen in the past related to the things that we talked about, as well as some loss of potential connects that I thought we needed to try to address. So there are the results. Commercial internet, again, you can see over there on the right, has been a little bit more tempered. Commercial voice, still steady. We did go through a little gap there, but not much towards the end of last calendar year. There has been a little bit of activity, and of course this one kind of makes the scale go off a little bit more. But we do have a few more right now that are on my desk. So that is still a very viable business for us, and still plugging ahead. And then residential internet too, still nice and steady. As you'll see from the next slide, we should be seeing some more of this type of activity in my next presentation to you, because even though I say here that we have been delayed, and we have been delayed because of the hurricanes, because of the weather, the winter, all of that, we are finally opening up some of these areas now. This area is opened up, this area is now opened up. Prior to me, in between the time I created this slide and now, these areas are starting to open up. And so we are starting to see our calendars, our installation calendars, booking out quite a bit, so that's exciting to have that news for you. And then here's what we're seeing as far as the penetration rates of subscribers in these different phases. Now I just called phase 3. At this moment in time, phase 3 was just this little chunk right here, and we had just connected a few customers there. But if you lumped all of that in right now, we are sitting at that.
For those people who are in that phase, the ones that are coming up,
Yeah.
how are you actually contacting them to know it's now available?
One of the first things we do is go into a database that we have, what we call a pre-subscriber database. So people have gotten word that we're coming, and they have gone to that database on our website, put in their information and said, I want this as soon as it's available in my neighborhood. So the minute that engineering notifies me that something is now available, I go into that database and I pull all those addresses of people who have pre-subscribed for our services. With the help of customer service, we reach out to those folks, let them know that we're now available for services, and that's what is now booking up our installation calendars.
Do you have a way through your billing system to let those customers know where you are in the process? Because I have several people in the area that contact me all the time when the wind's coming,
Right.
So apparently they don't understand when it's coming.
Well, and even I mean, I have challenges. Lots of people ask me those same questions. I have challenges of telling you when it's going to be coming because of some of these issues that have delayed. I would have told you it would have been available very early this year, or maybe even late last year. But these things happen, and so I'm just hesitant to even try to put something out there that says it'll be there by February, because it probably won't be. We've had some material issues. We've had the weather slow us down. So as much as I'd like to say, you know, the best we've tried to do is put this on our website and say, here's where we're expanding to, and here's when we think it's going to be sometime this fiscal year. And then once it becomes available, we update the website and say, hey, now it's available.
Don't we do door hangers and stuff too?
Well,
When we
and
get
that
to
was-
an area, we canvas the area.
So there's layers to all of this. The pre-subscribers is the initial, we're now open, let's go contact these people and let them know. When we go out and do those installations, we put yard signs in the front of their yard so that people driving by can see, oh wow, it's now available here, I've heard about this. The next thing we do as well is door hang the area that says, hey, we're now available. Prior to it, while in construction, we do door hangers that say, this is coming, hey, lucky you, this is about to be in your neighborhood. Once it is available, then we say, and I think it might be this one here, or the lookout is the lookout is the one that says coming. Yeah, the lookout. So the one you see here is the one that goes on there when we are starting to do construction in that neighborhood. So people go, why are there all these trucks all over the place? Well, this door hanger tries to tell them what's going on. When it is available, now we've got a door hanger that says, hey, now it's available, call in and sign up for services. Then the next thing we do a little bit further out is a direct mail piece that reinforces the original door hanger. And then from then on, we do occasional door hangers to kind of remind them that, hey, this is, or mail pieces that says, hey, this is still available, you know, are you sure you're not interested in this? But we actually get a lot of traction off of those yard signs, people driving by and just happening to notice them. And then word of mouth, of course, is really big here in Owensboro.
Chris, do you have any staffing problems to get the job done? Are you short on staff? Are there any problems in that area?
No, not at all. I appreciate the commission authorizing the positions as I requested them. And internally, we are definitely, if anything, at the moment, we are staffed in preparation for what is coming with these future constructions. So we've invested the time and material and personnel to be ready for what's coming. We're very fortunate. We have some contract partners that are able to scale as we need them. So these installations are actually done by a contractor out of Clarksville, Tennessee, that do a fantastic job for us. Lots of great feedback from customers that they're very friendly and you know, do a good job. So when we have doubled, and in this case what we've done is expanded. We were only doing Friday installations, and now we've gone to Friday and Saturday installations, and we can continue to expand on that as needed. So, yeah, we're doing well. This was the big thing that, I'll be honest, I was very nervous about. We have bonded, we now have debt that needs to be paid, and I got to get this revenue in, and the longer this was taking to get going, the more anxious I was getting. But we're now starting to see all of that rolling, so I'm excited about that. Any questions?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Moving on, regional manager's report, couple items. We talked a little bit about retail sales. Temperatures in March were kind of so-so, just a little bit below average. So March wasn't wasn't a lot of demand. So retail megawatt hour sales for the month were down about 4%, and we talked about year-to-date about 3.1%. So that's kind of steady there. Unit 1, we talked about the end of February, we had all that rain and we had wet coal issues with Unit 1. And so it started out the month on outage. We've had since then a couple of tube leaks. So Unit 1 was on outage, as Dr. Mack pointed out, a good bit of the month of March for reliability issues, and is on outage currently. We had planned to take it off in conjunction with the transmission outage last week, and we're just taking the opportunity to do some other maintenance work, correct some tube leaks and some tube issues, as well as some normal wear and tear we get on that unit, which we would normally take a 3-week outage. This is going to end up being about a 1.5 week outage, and this will be the last planned work we do on Unit 1 prior to shutdown. Any other outages on that unit will be forced outages. So this is the kind of the last planned maintenance activity for Unit 1 that we have scheduled. As you guys know, management and staff have all been very busy working on the fiscal 19 budget. We'll talk about in our work session next week, and as well as the power supply analysis and issues related to the cabin plant expansion, the water district. So a lot of work has been going on that, and hopefully we're bringing some of those issues to a close in the next 30 to 60 days. We did have in March a I guess it's maybe the first ever company-wide safety event, where we had seminars and we had lunch and we had vendors come in. All the employees were given the opportunity to go down and participate. I think it was very well received. It was a nice thing, focusing on safety, which is very important to us. And Michael's group, Dana's group, the safety folks did a great job putting it on, and I think our employees did a good job. We had a lot of good attendance. All the feedback I got was positive, and so I think it was a good event, and it was a company-wide focus on safety. So good job to all who put that together. And lastly, we talked about turnover at Elmer Smith. Last month, you guys approved the retirement for Mr. Tony Christian, and we want to. Tony is with us today. 22 years, I think, at ESS, and he said earlier he's been 41 years on shift work, and he's ready to get off that. So congratulations, Tony. We appreciate your service. Thank you. Tony's done a great job for us. He's a plant operator.
Off of shift work, I see you're married. You may not be.
That's in rough, let me tell you.
You're gonna say get back to work.
Lynn, monthly financial report.
Okay. I do have a report on the retail megawatt hours for the last 5 years as of March fiscal year to date, and we're down 20,000 megawatt hours from last February. And then this is the lowest March in 5 years, and wholesale's the lowest in 5 years, and generation's the lowest in 5 years. So everything's down. Now revenues, the sales are down, but revenues, because we had the base rate increase and the ECA increases, consolidated revenues were on par with last year's revenues. We're only down by 0.5%. The consolidated net income, though, fiscal year to date is 15.9% better than budget. Our costs are contained. G&A costs are down 22%. IT is down 23%, and then customer information expense is down 23.9%. On the retail system, fiscal year to date actual performance without the ECA adjustment, we're 14.3% better than budget. On the wholesale system, we're 2.3% better than budget for net income fiscal year to date. The telecommunication systems, we're 193,000 better than budget. Residential telecom is down 18.8% on revenues. Commercial's down is up 10.6%, or $78,000. Telecom operation expense is down 8.9%. So we're coming up for a good year for telecom, with expenses being below budget. On the water system, we are 627,000 better than budget. Even though the revenues are down, the pumping expense is up a little bit, but our other expenses are down based on budget. This is the first month we've hit the ECA balance of $15 million, and we had to forgive $693,000. At the end of this fiscal year, if you decide to raise the ECA balance, that will go away, we'll reverse that entry. So, at this point, we've only used $693, even though we budgeted $4.4 million to be used. The table there at the bottom is for the projection. We've got 10 months of actuals and 2 months of budget left. We project consolidated electric system, the net income to come in 16% better than budget. Remember that's before the city transfer of $10 million. So the retail, without the ECA adjustment, 14.5% projected better than budget. On the wholesale system, we'll be up about 1.9% better than budget. Telecommunications will be in the year about $193,000 better than budget, and then the water system about $600,000 better than budget.
Any questions? Thank you. On our governance items, we had 4 of our governance policies that we reviewed for compliance, and we had all of them were reviewed as being in compliance with those. If there's no questions there, I provide for you the GM performance expectations. This is my first go with that. I'm trying to keep it fairly simple and straightforward, and as you guys review that, if you have things you want to add to that or give me direction, I will be happy to take that and modify that as needed.
We need to approve that. When did they get hosted?
I didn't get that done until yesterday. I apologize. I should have sent an email. I'm sorry.
So I'm not prepared to vote on that.
Does that get voted?
Typically, yes.
But it really doesn't, it's for the next fiscal year, so we can do it with the budget. I apologize.
Yeah, I should have sent an
I'm
email.
still learning. I'd forgotten that it even existed until Brittany reminded me, did you do the GM?
You're good.
And I said, what's that? So,
Yeah, you can do it at the mayor's. Your sister's already in there.
Yeah. Let's make sure she's sit down.
I'll try to do better. Nothing, other business, upcoming meetings. We had thought we were gonna have to move some meetings around, but we're now, happy to say, back on our regularly scheduled meeting schedule for May. So May 3rd will be our work session. We will delve into the budget in great detail. And then May 17th will be our regularly scheduled May meeting. Anything else, Mr. Chairman, or any commissioners?
Anything else?
Then I would, I'll read the closed session wording. Need to go into closed session, discuss personnel matters pursuant to KRS 61-810-1F, proposed pending or threatened litigation pursuant to KRS 61-810-1C, and discussions regarding proposals received in response to RFPs solicited under competitive negotiation, which are required to be discussed in privacy pursuant to KRS 61-810-1K, including but not limited to KRS 61-878-1C L and J, and KRS, I think that's I and J, and KRS 61-872-6, and KRS 45A-37.
So moved. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
End of 24th of April, 2018, OMU Commissioners Meeting.